jou hartje gaat zeer kry, ja, as jy met my bly. Hartje gaat zeer kry, ja, as jy met my bly. Jou hartje gaat zeer kry, ja, as jy met my bly. Gaat zeer kry, ja, as jy met my bly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Western Cape Teachers Forum, a platform where we educate, empower, and excel. Now, it's been a good few months since we last chatted on the platform, and that is mainly due to my working situation that has changed. I've been appointed as deputy principal at San Souchi School as of the 1st of Jan this year. And so, as we all know, that schools keep us busy, and time is not always on our side. But I want to thank Ms. Theola Phillips for assisting with the admin side of things and keeping the boat afloat and maintaining the platform in my absence, and for finding the time to do so, because she is also currently a teacher. Well, she's a teacher and she's also acting deputy principal at Hellewood Primary School in Mitchells Plain. So thank you for that. And maybe if there's any one of you guys that feels perhaps that you have what it takes to form part of our admin team, please feel free to drop us an email or to hit the inbox button or message button, and we will reach out to you to start a conversation to see if you are able to add to the existence of the platform in its current form. Now, to talk to us tonight about how busy their school terms were, we are joined by the principal of San Souchi Girls High School, Ms. Ruschda O Shea, Ms. Dawn Petersen, principal of Golden Grove Primary School, and then, of course, Mr. Wayne Cicilie, who is the principal at Good Hope Seminary Junior School. Now, to kickstart the conversation, Ruschda, I'm going to start with you. My information tells me that you started your teaching career in 1995 at, is it Ikamvaleto in Langa, and then 14 years after that, you were then appointed as principal at another school. Now, just quickly fill in the gaps for us in terms of your journey in education.
Yeah, I started out, my first job, Langa. People are like, wow. I said, well, kids need to be taught. So that's where I started. From Langa, I moved on to head of department at Fazeka in Gugulethu. Then moved on to Pakama. Yeah, I've been around and then ended up 8 years. I was principal at Tafelsig High. And then decided I need a new challenge, and 2018 applied at San Souchi, actually 2017, and was appointed 2018 at San Souchi Girls, my first girls' school, my first school in the leafy suburbs, and it's been an interesting journey.
All right, what an illustrious career. I must just add, when you started your teaching career in 1995, I was a meager 12 years young. So I'm in the presence of education royalty here this evening. Yes, Wayne, let's turn to you. Now, again, my information tells me that at some stage you were a circuit manager, but in a different province, and then you made the Western Cape your home towards the end of last year, where you were appointed as principal at the school you're currently at, which is Good Hope Seminary Junior. Just a quick thought to spare on your journey in education, sir.
Yes, I started off in 1993 as a young educator, been appointed by the old Department of Education. In Ruland Street, I had to accept a position in Bloemfontein then in 1993. I went away and I got promoted to state. In 2006, I got promoted as a HOD. 2009 to a deputy principal. 2011 to a principal position. And then the department felt that, okay, this guy can do something in the district, man. So they took me into this Free State Education department as a circuit manager. But that wasn't for me, man. I had to deal with issues there, the Grey College issue and the SGB issue of Grey College. And I decided, let me go, man. So in 2019, I applied for a post in Cape Town again, and I got appointed at Good Hope Seminary Junior, beginning of 2020. I'm glad to be home. I'm shouting for the Stormers again, man. Not the Cheetah anymore.
Well, fantastic. Now, I would imagine that must have been quite a transition from being an official at district office level, being thrown back into the school setup. How have you managed to manage that transition from being a CM back into the position of principal?
At that time, I frustrated principals. I was the messenger of the department. And yeah, I understand now what are going through, bringing messages and giving deadlines and SIPs and all that. So yeah, but I think I must be a principal instead, not a circuit manager, I can tell you.
All right. Well, that's nice to hear. Dawn, are you with us? I'm not seeing you on our screen. Just shout at me if you can hear my voice.
Can you hear me, Lee?
I can hear you, but for some reason your visual is not showing on the screen.
I've frozen on my phone, so I'm not sure what is happening.
Okay, but while we're trying to sort that, I know you're no stranger to the platform. You've been on the platform before. Now, you are the principal at Golden Grove Primary. You've also been at Blomvlei for a number of years in Hanover Park. And I just saw today on their Facebook page that they're celebrating their 50th anniversary in the form of a staff photo shoot. Are you aware of that? Were you there? Have they invited you at least?
Unfortunately not. So we just, I'll have to call Mr. Snyder and find out why I wasn't invited. So quite sad that I wasn't invited to the celebration.
Yeah. Now, don't just tell me, if you were to sum up term one in one sentence, what would that sentence sound like?
Sorry, Lee, to sum up what?
If you were to reflect back on term one, how would you sum it up in one sentence, term one of this year, the term that was?
Okay, actually, I don't even think I can sum it up in one sentence. Maybe use quite a few adjectives. Maybe that will actually tell you how it was. It was exasperating. It was frustrating. It was tiring. It was stressful. It was crazy. It was hectic. And a lot of things were thrown on our path that I'm not even sure if our employers realize the stress they put us under as principals for the past 3 months. You think about it, we were back at school on the 25th, and I'm going beyond the sentence. The 25th of January, we ended the 23rd of April, and it has been non-stop. So my average day was from 6:30 in the morning till about 4 o'clock, sometimes even getting home at 11 o'clock at night. That is what the term was about. It was exhausting.
Sure. Now, Ruschda, let's bring you into the conversation. Now, like Dawn said, the SMT were back on the 25th of Jan. The post-level 1 teachers, they came back on the 1st of February. And so that gave you guys 14 days before the learners eventually arrived on the 15th. What did San Souchi Girls School look like from the 1st of Feb until the 15th in terms of staff development? How did you keep the staff busy?
It was actually a good time because to think about it, where else would we have 2 weeks just to reflect? Firstly, we did a lot of reflection on 2020. What did we do wrong? What did we right? What are we going to do going forward? But we also had lots of opportunity to relook at policies, systems at the school. So it was good. I can honestly say that time without the learners gave us the opportunity to really sort ourselves out, and plan better, because really you don't have so much time, and we had to be at school. So there was nothing like, I can't do it. So it was good. It was busy. It was very productive for us, as a staff.
Great to hear. Now, Wayne, if you look back at the first term, are you happy with the overall progress that you've made as a staff at Good Hope Seminary Junior School?
Yes, Lee, definitely, man. I started off, as Ruschda just said now, planning, reflecting, and where we're at the moment, it's not where I see the school. Yet, having the background of where I come from, I have a vision for the school. But we've achieved quite a lot. Staff are positive. We're exhausted. Dawn said it quite well. We're tired. It was irritating, but I can tell you, we getting there. I sometimes just felt so sorry for not my staff, for the staff. You could just see people are tired. People are
Yeah.
simply tired. Towards the end of the term, you could just, if it was in my power to say take a day off, I would have done that. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that. But yeah, we've got quite far towards the end of the term.
Great. Now, let me just give you a sketch, a little background of my situation. I was appointed as deputy principal at Souchi School. And then during the first SMT meeting of the year, the principal received a call from the district office to announce her, or to confirm that she's been appointed as acting CM. And in that same meeting, she turned around to me and she said, "Sir, you are now the acting principal at the school." And I'm like, "What?" En ek moet letterlik myself as die broek staan stil, because I could not, create the impression that I was panicking at the time. But looking back, as an inexperienced leader, I had to deal with so many things. There was the APIP, the LTSM, the SIPs, SGP, AAPR, QMS, PMP, SCBs. The list goes on. And so if I were to sum it up in one word, I would say traumatizing, but in a good way. I was very fortunate that I had a team of people that supported me and that literally gave me all of their support. And I had a CM who also, assisted me to a great degree. Don't know that I've been amper seker in Afrikaans. Hulle was a pest. It was a pestilence because I would call her up all the time and say, "Dawn, how do you do this? How do you do that?" And so she's really been a pillar of support for me in that respect. But I was reminded about Martin Luther King's words that said, "You need not see the entire staircase. All you need to do is take that one step." And I think sometimes as leaders, that is all we need to do, is to show that we are courageous and bold, and we need to take decisions, even though, and a lot of things are not reduced in writing in terms of policy, handbooks, and legislation. And so a lot of the decisions that we as leaders make, it resides, or it's built on sound judgment, I almost would say. Would you agree with that, Dawn?
Yeah, definitely. But Lee, I've listened to Ruschda and Wayne, and yes, there are definite positives. But I mean, we also mustn't shy away from saying the thing as it is. And I'm sometimes, and at the risk of sounding negative, but the pressure that was put on us as leaders in the time that we had to manage, now I don't think that within this is my 12th, 13th year as a principal. I was at Bloemfontein for 11 years. I'm going into my third year at Golden Grove. So within all these years of experience, I think this has been a time that has been so emotionally charged. It's been like a roller coaster ride of, yes, you achieve things. And yes, as the manager, you try and be that person that is there for everybody. You're talking to your school community, you're talking to your teachers. I mean, basically, you need to be the person that needs to stay strong despite all the emotional turmoil that this term has brought along. And then you can never please anybody all the time. And as a principal, and I think what people forget is that we are human and that we also experience these emotions. And it's often just thought that you must stand tall. You must be the one that has no emotion, that must be able to think on their feet and do the right thing at the right time. So I think that is also for me, and I'm not sure if it's the same for Wayne and Ruschda and for yourself in your acting position, where you needed to keep everything together. And the having to keep everything together also takes a toll on you as a principal. And like I said, the very real is that as principals, I feel that we need, yes, the wellness was there, yes, the psycho support that the department gave was there. But ultimately, you are the person on the ground every day that needs to deal with other person's emotion. You need to show sensitivity to other persons. But in the meantime, you also need to manage yourself and your emotion where you're at. So people tend to forget that as principals, we are also human. And I need to put that out there because it's expected that we are 100% composed. We are 100% know what we're about. But it is very difficult at times to maintain that.
Sure. Now, Ruschda, I'm reminded whilst we're on the issue of wellness, one of my SMT members said at some stage when we did a temperature check right at the beginning of the term, like, colleagues, how are we feeling? Where are we at in terms of our emotions and all of that? And my one colleague was quoted as saying that school feels to him like a death trap. And because of, at the time, it was this uncertainty and anxiety around the third wave, and so the staff really took strain from an emotional point of view. And then, of course, besides COVID, we had some staff members losing family members as a result of the virus, and otherwise there were some people who suffered health challenges, and so this issue of wellness is a serious and a real thing. Now, how do you, as a manager, address the issue of staff wellness at your school?
Yeah, we were fortunate. We did not, none of my staff suffered immediate losses. We had learners losing parents. So, and there was we were positive because I'm that happy, positive people. Yes, Dawn, I hear what you were saying. And it's just our task to keep everything together. And like they say in Afrikaans, hou die blink kan bo, and just always smiling and knowing the battles that we have. It's always encouraging. And what I did especially with the SMT for the first 2 weeks, was about giving and taking. We didn't stay there till 3 o'clock because I didn't see the need for us to stay for the until 3 o'clock, because they're all mums and dads and they have kids and things. And also, it was about checking in every day and speaking about how we're feeling and what we are feeling. The school is also going through quite a lot of changes over the past few years. So we've always had, the school psychologist and our own support services that we have at our school speaking. And it was always about just the general wellness. I mean, we would do coffee and donut days, or we would do muffins and cappuccinos and things just to get, make school feel comfortable for people. All the protocols were followed. We arranged everything. We were super cautious, and because we didn't have anyone off with comorbidity leave, so the staff complement was full. And people respected each other's spaces and the ideas. And so we started off very positive, very worried, but knowing that we were going to take all the precautions that we could to make sure nothing happens at San Souchi. Because you remember San Souchi in media, it's like, what's happening? What's going to be in the newspaper next? So we were very cautious. And so staff, especially SMT, the first 2 weeks, we were upbeat and we were positive and we were looking forward, because you do want to get on with the job. Despite all this, we needed to get on with the job of what we needed to do, because otherwise our kids are going to be left behind. So that was ultimately our thing. Yes, we need to look forward and, just be brave and tackle the challenges, but also be cautious.
100%. Wayne, any comorbid teachers that were off on a concession to work from home on your side?
No, luckily not, Lee. We didn't have any cases. I can tell you.
Okay.
We're so blessed actually that everybody was present, and I had no issue with absenteeism as well from the teacher side. Not at all.
Wayne, how would you respond to the following statement? You cannot pour from an empty cup.
That's interesting. Yeah, my cup felt so empty at some time, having to manage the school from my desk. And first time in my career as principal that I didn't have much contact with my learners. I feel so guilty actually. I felt like an empty cup, and you've been accused of, you as a principal, you just sit in the office all the time. That's what teachers came to tell behind your back, obviously. Listen, you don't know the kids' names, man. You just sit there the whole day. In the meantime, it's up and it's Q, whatever it is, man. It's PM, PDS and all these. And you forgot about the SUB election. It's the first time in my career that it was a hell of a thing. And I felt like, what can I offer these poor kids and these teachers? Empty cup. But at the end, I said, listen, we've got a business to do here. If it happened in the interest of my learners, I've got a job to do. And I think towards the end of the term, the cup started to fill up, and I think I'm ready for term 2. I'm ready.
Yeah. No, I think we are responsible for maintaining our cups, our full cups. Now, talking about SGB elections, oh my word, what a frustrating process. I don't want to start on that one. That was, HGB elections. I hear SEO. I'm hearing William Yankees. And it was quite a process. But at this juncture, let me just check in on our people who are joining the thread here. Colleagues, good evening once again from our side. Thank you for joining. I'm going to take a few comments here and just display them and just acknowledge some of our people that have joined the conversation. Firstly, here, there's Llewellyn van der Ros. That's my friend. Go Ruschda O Shea. Okay, there's a fan, Ruschda.
Hi, Llewellyn.
Okay, and then Simonette Karel Duplessis says, congratulations. Okay, thank you again. Okay, then 555. Who's this? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but congratulations once again. Thank you very much. And then Shia Matthews. Good evening, colleagues. Rushana Fisher is responding to the question or to the statement, explain your term in one word, and it says overwhelming. Overwhelming, yes. Werner Steelman says, watching with you, LVDR. Is that Llewellyn van der Ros, I'm imagining? Yeah. And then Ruwaida once again says, I, Ruwaida Deval, watching from Grassy Park. Hi, Comrade Dawn, our regional chair. Oh, yes, Dawn is a regional, or what is it, a provincial office bearer for her union, SATU. And then Jan Jacobus.
And she's got another title. She is the president of the Progressive Principals Association.
Oh my!
President of the Progressive Principals Association. Dawn, I'm gonna ask you to tell us a little bit more about that. But before you do that, I just want to make sure that I'm doing justice to displaying some of the comments here. Christine Oliver says, good evening. I'm watching from Easter River. Hi, Christine. Thank you for joining. And then Fatima, congratulations for acting principal. I heard it first from my colleague Yolanda Human. Oh, thank you very much, Fatima. And then who else is here? Heideveld Primaries, just tuned in. Crystal Petersen says it went off very well. I'm glad to hear that. And then, of course, Renee Roda. Post level 1 is a different ball game. Watching, listening. Yes, I totally agree with you, ma'am. And I mean, please share your experience from that perspective, because I think it's important that we get to hear it from us as practitioners. Because very often in mainstream media, we only hear about of our esteemed leaders, and we don't always get to hear our teachers on the ground, their experiences. And I mean, I'm just thinking about before I get there, let me first, don't speak to me about this PPA presidency. What's the story there?
Okay, just before I speak about that, just a correction. I'm not the provincial office bearer for SATU. I'm a regional office bearer chairperson. So yeah, the PPA, I was elected at the AGM last year as the deputy president, is what it's called. And then our president got a promotion to head office. And because of that, he was no longer principal. The exec then agreed, in essence, that I fill up the position of president for the PPA. So I'm very excited about the space I'm entering, because it's all like-minded principals, and any principals that's possibly part of tonight. I actually want to encourage them, because you see what I found within this group is principals like-minded, where we as a collective want to do things for especially our children in the disadvantaged schools, but also as a collective to do things like maybe looking at buying a RISO, doing a collective thing whereby we establish which company really is in it to see what they can do for schools, instead of schools going into contracts on their own and then not seeing the fine print and being bound to that fine print. So, and the exciting part for me is, like I said, that as the PPA, one of our first activities we did this year is where we did a training for principals and novice principals early on in the year. It was so successful because we could draw on the experience of the executive to do segments within the workshop. And I think that was valued by the principals and deputies who attended, because we could speak from experience and our day-to-day, how we run the school, how we manage the school. We could actually encourage, we could learn from each other. And I mean, Ruschda did the segment on finances. I learned something from her, and I hope that she would have learned something from my segment that spoke to doing a filing system in the school that speaks to all the things we spoke about earlier, about the functionality tool, the HEB, the management tool, all these things that for some of us, if you use the acronym, we don't even know what it's about, but we are there for each other to support each other through it. Yeah, that is what it's, I think, in essence. I hope I've got the gist of it, Ruschda. I didn't expect you to
Yes.
say that on this forum.
Yeah. Look, I think, and I mean, I believe in the power and the power of collaboration, and so that's a group of principals joining forces and drawing on one another's strengths to form a basis of support in the sector. Now, similarly, that was the basis on which this platform was formed. That is why I created this platform for ordinary teachers and educational practitioners and officials, just to come and share your thoughts, your ideas, the odd job opportunity, just to create dialogue around issues that affect us all. Because many times we suffer in silence, and we tend to think that we are the only ones in this situation. And I think back in 2015, when I started this platform, it was called the Mitchell's Plain Teachers Forum. And then I said, no, man, that's limited in my thinking, because at the time I worked in Mitchell's Plain. And then it was called at some stage Cape Town Teachers Forum. And then I said, no, what about the Western Cape? Because you can't also, broaden it to the extent, because you need manpower and all of that. So, and eventually I called it the Western Cape Teachers Forum. And I mean, the support that the platform has enjoyed over the last while, especially during COVID and the hard lockdown, was amazing, because people were hungry for information and they needed to know that there are others out there that feels the same way. Ruschda?
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought you wanted to say something. So just quickly, seeing that you are a high school principal, now there was a lot of concern regarding the matric pass rate and how COVID impacted the class of 2020. Now, in my example, for example, my school has seen, in fact, an improvement in the matric pass rate compared to 2019. And so talk to us about how San Souchi fared in terms of their matric results and the pass rate.
We had a 98% pass rate, which was, all I can say is our kids and our teachers showed resilience, because, missing out so much, curriculum not being cut, people's fears and anxieties, teachers and learners, we didn't think that, but it just showed that, with hard work and determination and, showing through grit, we made it. And many of our colleagues at the same, they will tell you the same, that they pulled through. That's the result wasn't all that bad at most schools. I mean, schools still obtained their 100. Most of us were in the 90s. I mean, if I think about my schools that I have to compete with, they also had more resource schools. They were also at 98%. So we were quite happy, which just shows that my teachers had enough in them, to get our girls to where they needed to be. And the girls rose to the occasion, So it was a challenge, and we're actually more worried about the class of 2021 because of the academic gaps that 2020 brought onto the grade 11 group. So that is our worry, because last year's matrics had a good foundation in grade 10 and 11. But these grade 12s now is our concern because of the academic gap in grade 11. And our kids currently have lots of anxieties, especially our grade 12s. They are a bit worried, and it's spilled over. You could see it. We had wellness sessions with them, with our own counselor, with the department's counselors. The kids are really taking strain. Being at school firstly now every day, because last year they were at school 2-3 days, and now they're at school every day, and everybody wants their pound of flesh, and people are wanting to fill the gaps of the 2020 academic year plus the grade 12 syllabus. So it's hard on all of them.
Now on that score, let me bring you into the conversation here. You know that the grade 12s are at school every single day, since we returned to school last year, and so the majority of schools, in fact, if not all of them, at some stage they implemented a rotation-based system. Now, as of recent, the department or the DBE has started as a series of engagement to gauge the appetites of education stakeholders as to whether to return schools to 100% on a daily basis. What are your views on that? Are you in support of such an idea?
Lee, yes, I'm in support of that. If the schools allow that, if the classroom size is big enough and all that, and if we can maintain all the protocols, because to repeat a lesson. I can see how tired our teachers, they repeat the lesson one today, tomorrow they must repeat the same lesson, and it's over and over story. So really, I'm in support of getting all our kids back at school so that, teachers prepare once, but only if classes allow that. At the moment, my school cannot accommodate all learners at the same time. We X-model see it's quite small classrooms, so yeah, they will be like 30 in the class. We only have 30 kids per class, but it won't fit.
Yeah.
Taking into account all the protocols to be adhered.
Yeah. So Wayne, so would I be correct in assuming that if schools were to return, those at least who are able to do so, provided that they have the space and the resources to do so, would that mean that Good Hope Seminary Junior would be left behind, based on the fact that you are not able to accommodate for that social distancing, as an example?
Yeah, I would make sure, Lee, that we're not put behind in terms of the curriculum. I'll make sure the curriculum. I mean, if my kids comes twice a week or 3 times a week, it's okay. The teachers are just very, very exhausted. We will not be left behind. I cannot. There's no way with a 1.5 meter social distance that I can accommodate all 30 kids in my class. I'm struggling to get 15 in at the moment. I'm having 15 per day per class, and I'm struggling to have them like 1.5 meters apart.
Yeah. Dawn, your thoughts on that?
Look, I agree with what Wayne said. We even considered bringing our children back, also former Model C school, and we actually had professionals coming into the school, and it was 2 doctors that came in. They measured up the classrooms, and in light of even the 1 meter, we couldn't accommodate all the children coming back. But you see, for me, my concern is that, yes, there are going to be schools that can accommodate learners to come back 100%. But we're still going to find them here as a school education community. This is what makes me so sad, that no matter how you look at it, we're going to find that schools, again, in the disadvantaged areas, etc., children will not be able to come back. Even if we look at my school, our children cannot come back if we're looking at that meter social distancing. So as Wayne said, the teachers have put their everything into this term. So I don't think that our children are left behind per se where there's a backlog. But the teachers are saying things like, the children that when they are home, the days that they are home, they're supposed to be doing work that we give them to do. They're not doing it. When they come back to school, on the day that they come back, we must reteach again. And the teachers are really, really exhausted, and I'm worried about that. But on the other hand, I'm also worried about the gap that is just getting bigger and bigger. And then as managers, we are put in the position where some of our parents are becoming very upset with us and saying, why are you not letting all the children back? And in the meantime, we need to consider the fact that the protocols are dictating that we must have this distance, we must adhere to protocols. So what happens if we bring all the children back and something happens? Who is the person that's then going to be blamed? And this is the problem. This is what I'm grappling with. I would love to have all my children back on Monday. I think we all would love to have our children back, because it's going to be beneficial for the children, of course, and obviously the parents are also buckling because of work commitments, having to figure out what they do when the children are home. So there's a lot of ramifications to this alternate days. But what is, has things changed? Look, we are only at home for this week. So from the 23rd to Monday when we're back at school, what has changed for consideration now for all children to come back? Because the protocols were implemented based on research, etc. So yes, I would really love to have all my children back, but all these things are things that's still out there and questions that needs to be answered.
Yeah, look, I mean, one thing that COVID-19 has really done was to really shed light on the inequalities within the system. And it was so heartwarming the other day. Now, the issue of the teacher assistants, let's use them as an example, and the value that they brought to some of our schools. And there was one teacher, and I'm going to mention a principal, and I'm going to mention his name because I think it was, I was impressed by that type of thinking. Mr. Gavin Fish from Fisher Girls School. At the principal's meeting, we reported back on the teaching assistants and the extension of the contract. He then said, look, he was offered assistance, but he then suggested that they used the assistants that were allocated to him at other schools where it's needed, because they are a little bit more privileged than others. And I think that was a commendable thing, because not all of us are in that fortunate position where we can employ additional human resources. And I mean, Ruschda, the value that these assistants brought to your school, talk to us about that.
I'm in the same position. I also said that no, I don't need the assistance. And being in Claremont, the little stipend they were going to get, they were going to spend more than half of that to get to my area. And I said, let's use them where they are needed, because we employ enough people to maintain. We managed last year without a case with the protocols, and I had no staff off, so I literally didn't need at my school. So we had the same idea, use them in the in our circuit in the Manenbergs and those areas where they are needed.
Wayne, what do you think? What type of leader do you believe is needed in a time like this?
That's a difficult one. Strong, considerate leader, man who can think on his feet, or lady for in that case as well. You confront with stuff, man, and sometimes you're so fearful. A person who's not fearful, because what is next? What demand will be placed on me again today? It's visit from officials. What unreasonable! I told my supervisor, this paperwork of the Western Cape is making crazy. It's a province of paperwork, and you need a leader in this time that can really think progressively. What's going to happen tomorrow? Need to be strong, to be considerate, to be caring for people, to be like that kids, especially in my situation at school, kids being bussed in from Gugule to from Kailicha. You have to be the father as well, the leader that's a father. They come and cry by you. There's issues at home. And we had incidents the other day of abuse being taking place at home. Type of leader in this time, Lee, I would say is what can I say? One that can.
You need to be resilient.
Yes, resilient.
Yeah. Ruschda, you wanted to say?
I think that is what we need. We need resilient leaders. We need people, like us, that's not going to give up. That, we're going to say it's not half, the cup is not half empty, but it's half full. I think that is what because we're always going to get challenges, be it COVID, be it admin, be it staff issues, learner issues. I think it starts with us. We need to be positive. Yes, we are faced with challenges all the time, but you cannot always just see the negativity, and just be open-minded and have a caring heart. I think that's what it is, because I think negativity is going to attract negativity, seeing the bright side of it. As I'm saying, I wasn't happy that we had to go back and my SMT had to sit there for 2 weeks, but we made the most of it, So when the staff came back as well, we made the most of the time. So it's not easy, but you need to be resilient. You need to be positive, and you just need to say, I need to do this. We need to get on with the job. We are frustrated many times, like Dawn said, with all these things from the department. I just wish the officials actually, was any of them even principals? Do they know what we face on a daily basis? So be resilient and just, almost have to say, get on with the job. But we also need to self-care. And I think that was important, guys. I think self-care was important for our system because, like I said, your cup runs empty, but you have to keep on filling up other people. So it's not hard. The comment that the teacher made there about post-level 1 was a different ball game. I would have loved to have been a post-level 1 in this term 1, and she could have come and sit in my office and do what I needed to do with all those deadlines and all those submissions and things. So we equally understand how hard it is for them. You said it, Wayne. They have to repeat these lessons over and over. And when we got the results, when we did marking at the end of the term, you asked yourself, was I speaking English? Was I in the class? Was the kids there? That type of thing. Was I there? What was happening? Because you didn't feel that you got the result back that you wanted. But like slowly but surely, and now we've got the results, and now we're looking forward to interventions. How are we going to do better in term 2? What can we do? Because the results, I don't know about Dawn in your school, Wayne, but we're not happy with our current results that was produced, with a March, April test. And now we're going to have that conversation. What do we do going forward to do better for our children?
Don't just
Yeah, sorry.
Go for it.
I just wanted
Go
to
for
add
it.
on, you asked the question about what type of leader must be. And I think a part of what has kept me sane is the fact that as a leader, I wasn't too scared to ask colleagues for help. Wayne, remember with the elections, you would say something to me, I would say, what are you talking about? Please send it to me. Because, and you see
Yes.
what, and I think the time has come for us as a collective to say to the officials that comes in to check up on compliance, will you guys not please sit down one day around the same table and take all your forms and things and put it on the table and say, what of these forms are repetitions of the previous form? Because you see, you have so many things that it's a repetition, it's just the same thing differently. So I understand that we need to analyze results to be able to inform teaching and learning. So yes, Ruschda, within our results, we've already done that analysis of the result and we picked up that we need to do things. So we're putting in place almost like an intervention. What do we need to do next term? To pick up on the gaps we picked up on. But I really, truly want to urge our supervisors, our powers that be, that they need to talk to each other, also the different departments. That head office mustn't come with a survey that they send at 8:10. Then you get one from the district that comes at 8:30, and then at 9:15, the district will say, disregard the one we sent up, please look at the one from head office, type of thing.
Exactly.
And I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying, so the teachers become frustrated because teachers are saying the principal doesn't know what is going on in the class, the principal doesn't understand, and in the meantime, the principal is so frustrated because the principal cannot leave the office due to compliance. I was missing the children, like Wayne said, the interaction with the children, walking through the school, popping in by the teachers, saying, hello, how are you doing? There was hardly time to do that. And I really hope that our supervisors pick up on the fact that they need to really streamline things so that we can go back to being the instructional leaders that we should be.
Dawn and colleagues, the comment section on the thread is blowing up here. People are just jumping on it, and I thank you for the engaging activity on the platform. And colleagues, there are so many things that I wanted to touch on tonight, but we're already 45 minutes into the conversation. Can you believe it? I just want to maybe, before we make our concluding remarks, I just need to just highlight one or two things here, or comments rather. Renee says, more realistic leaders. Rosalia Dawn says, thanks for sharing this. Self-care is key. Fully agree. Desiree saying, we need leaders who make their staff feel valued and not managers who think they are the only ones with value. Yeah, no. I totally agree with that, Desiree. And then just, I think Tayana said something. It's quite a lengthy one. Our classes totals up to 50 kids. Full return would be beneficial, most definitely. Social distance will then have to be waived. Our learners are losing out, and it's being seen in the assessment results. Some learners are refusing to return to school altogether, becoming lazy. And I mean, that is the sad, reality, unfortunately. And my information tells me that there are some learners who, in fact, never returned since the first hard lockdown. And so what happens to them? They just get lost through the cracks, and that is quite concerning. Man, I can go on and on and on and on. And yeah, some people are, lashing out at the department, but colleagues, I must also just disclaim here that all the views expressed here on the platform are not necessarily the views represented by the Department of Education or any employer representative, but it's simply our own personal views in our own capacities. We are not representing anybody or any entity. So I need to disclaim that. I don't want to highlight that one. That's quite a bit of a strong one. And so, colleagues, maybe end up with Crystal's one. Crystal says, strong leadership, in the words of our principal, it is a collective effort. Crystal Petersen, is she familiar to anyone of you? No? Okay.
No.
Yeah, so look, I mean, there are so many things I wanted to chat about here tonight, but I unfortunately have to land this plane. I'm going to take a quick round of final remarks. Ruschda, let's start with you. Your message of support. What would you wish to say to our teachers, learners, our parents at this stage, from your perspective as a leader?
Okay. Firstly, I just want to share this with you. This term has been hectic, and we started calling our circuit manager CM compliance manager, because I feel for my CM as well. I must say, because he's just the messenger, like you said, Wayne. So it's like Dawn said, it's not him; it's the higher ups, the decision makers that's really bogging us, because he can't do anything but do compliance and not be supportive like he or she wants to be, because it's compliance. So,
Yeah.
so that support that we're not getting. But I just want to say self-care, and do the best that you can at that moment. Make that decision. And I want the parents also to step back, breathe, and allow us as staff and as principals and as schools to do what's best for us. Because that's also another concern that I have. Too many parents wanting to manage and run our schools. We appreciate their willingness and their eagerness, but allow us, we the professionals, allow us to do what we think is right. Because at the end of the day, most of us are moms and dads as well. And like I say, self-care is important, because I need to fill my cup so that I can continuously fill the cups of my teachers and my learners. And I'm not going to stop. And like I say, going forward, I will make a decision based on the best interest of my school at that moment. And I want to say, suffer the consequences later.
Dawn, I'm going to go to you as the lady, and then Wayne, you can take it away after Dawn. Dawn.
Look, like I said, this term has been absolutely crazy, and it's left me exhausted. But you kind of have talks with yourself, and you say, you know what, you are the person that you need to do, the passion that I've always had for teaching. There was a moment that I felt that I was almost losing it. I needed to speak to myself. And I also need to say to teachers, look, your space that you find yourself in, you need to make yourself happy in that space. So yes, obviously your leaders, your manager, the SMT needs to support you, but ultimately you create that space for yourself. You also cannot expect your manager to do that for you. And within that space, if we all work within that space as a team towards a common goal, it will be positive for our school. And I want to add on to what Ruschda says, that sometimes we need to ask parents to allow us as the professionals to make their opinions and not manage from the outside in. Because as SMT, as teachers, whatever we are doing, we're giving 100% of ourselves for our children. And parents need to trust that we're in it for that reason. The children are our center, and that is why we are in teaching.
Yeah. Wayne, your concluding remarks.
Dawn, your last words was exactly what I wanted to say. I want to tell the parents out there, trust. You can trust us with your children. Really, we in this for you, and everything that we do is in the best interest of your children. And to the educators, having been the post-level 1, dear educators, we know exactly what you're going through. Okay, we start out in the early 90s. It wasn't so tough. We know exactly when you cry, remember we cried before you, because that compliance manager, and I understand his position or her position as well, where they're saying in the other province, comply and complain later. And with that, you sometimes do just fill in that link quickly, and 10 minutes later, you do it, and understand that, colleagues, post-level 1, post-level 2 educators, understand we do, and we make these decisions sometimes, and we put pressure on you sometimes, not because we feel that we in that superpower position, we can, we nip you around. It's not that. It's because the pressure comes from above, and we sometimes just comply, and as Ruschda said, we face the consequences sometimes later. But hang in there, post-level 1 educators, hang in there. You can be assured of our support in our schools, and to the parents, thank you for your support as well, especially with the upcoming SGBs now. We need your support to building our schools once again, that we can take this profession further. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was an absolute treat for me. I mean, I'm a little an Afrikaans is a slot compared to you guys. I mean, I'm excited about education if I hear the amount of passion that's pouring out of your mouth, and I'm so privileged to have engaged you tonight. I'm Richard, definitely, and I want to thank you very much for sacrificing your short break. I mean, it's an hour of your time that you could have spent otherwise. But thank you for sharing with us your wisdom, your insights, your just pouring out your heart, because I mean, teaching is it's a work of art, isn't it? And one can sense that there's absolute passion coming from you guys. And so thank you very, very much for your resilience. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for the hearts that you display here tonight. I'm absolutely in awe of the type of leaders that I'm surrounded with. And so thank you very much to our Facebook and YouTube listeners, viewers, and our supporters, our followers, our friends of the page and the platform. Thank you very much for engaging us tonight. This discussion was extremely fruitful, and Judy is actually echoing that sentiment. And so, colleagues, I don't know when are we going to have this conversation again, because once Monday come and then I'm again tied down with so many stuff, But I want to try and keep the forum alive as much as possible. And so I want to extend the opportunity and the invite again. If you believe that you have what it takes to form part of our admin team, please reach out to us. We want to. Theola is with me on the team. She's managing things on the back end. And so thank you once again, Theola. And please, I believe once again in the power of collaboration. And maybe you've got a skill that I don't have that can be beneficial to this platform, so that we can grow this sector from strength to strength. And so once again, thank you. And I'm going to play us out with our very own Ndlovu Youth Choir, who made it to the top 10 in the reality series America's Got Talent. So they remind us with their rendition of A Wonderful World that despite where we find ourselves today, we are still able to say, this is a wonderful world we're living in. We've got so much to be grateful for. So ladies, once again, and so thank you very much. God bless and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
All the best for everyone for term 2.
Thank
Thanks,
you so much.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see girls shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I